Greetings and welcome back to the Jacksonville Buzz. Now I'm joined today by our lovely Buzz contributor, Miss Angela Spears, and Lynn Sherman from the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation, and she's going to tell us all about being a Guardian Ad Litem and what it entails. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey there, Adrian. Hi,
Good
Lynn.
morning.
We're so good.
Hi,
Glad to
Angela.
have you.
It's good to be here.
So, Guardian Ad Litem, let's jump straight in. Tell us exactly what it is.
Guardian Ad Litem is really a state program, and it's a state program that is appointed by the courts when a child has been removed from its home by DCF. And during the first initial hearing, the judge appoints a Guardian Ad Litem. And once the Guardian Ad Litem program is appointed, then the the CAM is then selects
caseworker?
case. Thank you very much. The case advocate manager selects a volunteer to be appointed and assigned to a particular child or a particular family. And when that volunteer is appointed, then that volunteer is primarily the voice of the child. They speak for the child, they represent the child in court, and the judge really does listen to what that volunteer has to say, because that volunteer has spent time developing a relationship with that child. That volunteer has gotten to know the family. She's gotten to know what the situation is. And so the judge is really dependent on what that child advocate volunteer has to say.
What age groups, what age children that when the volunteers or Guardian Ad Litems participate in this, what age group are the children? And I know whether they're abused, abandoned, neglected children in the court system. Is it from babies to teenagers? What's the age group?
It's from babies to 18 years old, from 0 to 17.
And how much time does it take for the volunteers to actually do this? Because it's a lot of work, as you mentioned, that's entailed, that you're going to doctor's appointments, you're visiting the child at his or her school, at his or her home.
Well, the volunteer has to be trained. There is some very comprehensive training that is done by the volunteer. It takes about 30 hours for them for this training, and they are doing just what you said. They're going to the school, they're getting to know who that child is, and the volunteer really has to be a person of good integrity, a person who is really passionate about children, and the volunteer,
Patient too.
of course, patient with the whole system,
Yeah.
not just the child, but with what's going on with the family, what's going on with the court system. They really do need to be patient in order to be appropriate for this type of work.
And what does it mean for a child to have that extra person in his or her life who's there caring?
Well, when you have a person who represents you and only you, they don't represent the parents, they don't represent the social workers, they don't represent the care provider, they simply represent the child. They are the voice of the child. And when a volunteer is representing children, the judge is really depending on them to speak, to be the voice of the child or children.
How does that work when the child is a baby, for instance? Because it's not as if the volunteer can have a one-to-one with the baby. Is it just a case of them being sensible enough to take in the environment, talk to the parents, or talk to the situation, talk with the people that the baby is around? I mean, how does that happen?
That is exactly right. They are trained to be observers of families and parents and the surrounding situation that the baby is in, to determine whether or not that child is going to be safe in that home environment. That's why the training is so important. It is very comprehensive.
How long does it take?
It takes it's a 30-hour training that volunteers participate in, and it's just more than just sitting there engaging in conversation, but it really is learning how to advocate for children.
And how long of a length of time are people the Guardian Ad Litems? Usually, would you say? I guess it depends on the case.
It depends on the case. We ask people to at least commit to about 8 to 10 hours a month, but we also are very interested in them continuing and offering some continuity in care. So we ask them to stay with the case for as long as the case is active, and that could be up to about a year. So we do ask them to be available to commit themselves to a year.
And Lynn, you're the chair of the foundation, of the board, of the Guardian Ad Litems, Florida's First Coast Did I get that right? I always
You got that right.
Florida's First Coast Inc.
Guardian Ad Litem, Florida's First Coast. Yes,
Inc. And you're the chair of the board. How does the foundation fit in with the programming?
The foundation is so important to creating a sense of normalcy for children. Those things that are not covered by the state funds the program, but there are some things that the state cannot fund because there's not enough funding to do that, such as school supplies, clothing, maybe a bicycle, those things that maybe typical families might take for granted. The foundation provides a bicycle, maybe training for a dance class, or maybe training or registration for a child to participate on a football team, or those things that help to create as normal of environment as possible for the children who are removed from their homes and are in foster care.
Are you always looking for new volunteers?
We are always looking for new volunteers. At any given time, there can be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 children who are in the system, and so we're always looking for volunteers.
Never enough volunteers.
There's never enough volunteers.
And do you have to have any particular qualifications?
No particular qualifications, just a person who loves and is passionate about children and really do care about the welfare of children.
And another part of volunteering could be lawyers donating their time. It could be people giving things because there's a big a closet where you have lots of different stuff to give to the children. So that's another opportunity for people to volunteer if they have donations, correct?
That is exactly right. The closet is kept in the office of the Guardian Ad Litem, and there's an opportunity for people to donate anything, toys and gifts and paper supplies and anything that they believe that kids might need. And of course, lawyers can certainly volunteer their time, and anyone in the community, there is something for everyone to do.
And if people are interested, and I'm sure they will be, how do they get in contact?
The best way to get in contact with us is to go to our website, and that is GAL, Florida's First Coast. And we also
galfirstcoast.org.
Yeah. galfirstcoast.org. And we are also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming in to tell us about it.
It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having
We
me.
so appreciate you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. I am your host, Jeff Hutzel, Chief Cloud Officer of AuditMax. Tech Talk is a show where we talk about all the new and exciting things that are happening in technology today, and we talk about some of the people that are behind those movements and some of the things that hold a lot of promise that we can expect and get excited for the future. So today we are very grateful, very happy to have a wonderful guest, and Jeff Sheffield from the North Florida TPO. So Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So Jeff, I think maybe right off the top, maybe introduce folks that aren't familiar to the TPO and what that means. What you
I
guys
don't think
do.
most know us, but that's okay. We are actually a public sector agency, and our predominant responsibilities for 30 years have been to really prioritize all federal funding for road transit improvements in Northeast Florida.
Okay, so we're talking about transportation, but we're also, Tech Talk, we normally talk about technology. So where has that intersection been?
Yeah, for us, that's been the interesting part, because even in the transportation space, it's not always about just adding more lanes. And so what we've seen, particularly over the last 15 years or so, a much larger play in the tech space with deploying cameras and sensor controllers and Bluetooth sensors along our roadways and starting to generate information so that we can better manage the transportation system. And so with that sort of became our first entree into the tech space.
Sure. And I know you guys were really engaged and involved and looking at the ideas of Jacksonville becoming a smart city as well. So talk a little more about what that means, a smart city.
Yeah, it's been this evolution. So for us, we have been making those type of investments and in the transportation arena. And for us, the backdrop then was in 2016. We had a federal grant opportunity from the U.S. Department of Transportation offering this idea for $40 million to one city to become a smart city. And so it really triggered the thought process, not only for Jacksonville, but for Northeast Florida, to contemplate those concepts. And so we did apply. We're not successful, but it made us realize that we could come back and do this anyway.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it spawned and become a much bigger thing and maybe a little bit larger than what the original thought was.
Way larger.
Yeah.
We sort of come back to the table and just said we could continue to advance in the transportation space, given that's our role, that we would develop a plan for the region to move the needle in that arena. What we have realized sort of organically over the last 2 years as part of this is that the idea of tech and data and analytics and community issues go way beyond transportation, and that conversation is very universal. So a lot of interactions now with organizations that are not very typical for us to be interacting with, whether it's homeless facilities or the school system and working to elevate our youth that are in need of devices now that most homework is done online, or creating ladders of opportunity for our low-income communities. When we look at residents with a lot of intellectual capital, but it's either transportation or other obstacles that are really limiting their opportunities, and how could we take not only tech, but take the data behind much of what's deployed in our region and all these sectors and bring that data together so that we can really apply a more comprehensive solution to some of our community's challenges.
Yeah. So how do you get there? I mean, you start talking about tackling societal issues.
Yes,
and
I know.
It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to make traffic flow better.
It
we're going to
is.
do driverless cars. When you start saying, hey, we're going to help curb homelessness and help improve people's lives and help with education. Like,
I tell you, I'm born and raised in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I've seen Jacksonville evolve, and I feel like we're on the cusp of something fascinating here. I never imagined these types of conversations for me, 27 years in transportation. And so, you know, what's happened over this period of time was sort of incremental. And so the idea of what we rolled out really revealed a tech community, this idea of a data exchange, this idea of entrepreneurs having an opportunity to develop solutions, whether it's apps or other business opportunities to address some of these societal issues. The value proposition in that conversation is what resonated with the tech community. And so suddenly we become aligned. And so engaging that tech community within a public sector environment now that has an initiative that helps them potentially thrive. Creating a platform for investors now who come into our community that invest in the tech space, having the ability through our initiative, which we've termed Smart North Florida, to find those tech entrepreneurs and startups, and then also be able to bridge the gap sort of between the tech community and more of the traditional chambers and economic development arms within the region.
This is a bigger project than just one agency. It's you're talking about a city or a region of the country to get into this. It holds a lot of promise and a lot of opportunity, like you said, for entrepreneurs and tech startups.
It really has, and I think that's really the thought. As a public sector guy, one of the things I thought about the other day was we always talk about public involvement. The reality to that, for the most part, is some level of just public input. Comment at public meetings, tell them what you think about it. I believe that what we're creating in this situation, not intended, but the reality of where it's going, is truly defining public involvement. Because if we are able to create that environment where they can access information and entrepreneurs can create solutions to the same challenges that public sector are trying to do, then that is the true definition of public involvement in the process. And so I'm just could not be more excited about that opportunity.
That's really the powerful use of all that data that you guys are able to gather, and that partnership with the community it holds a lot of promise.
It does.
And not to be just here for North Florida, but also to replicate in other cities across the country.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things. I mean, at its core, this is about breaking down silos. So whether it's public sector departments that are segregated with servers and maintaining data sets to going beyond that, but just breaking down those silos and creating all of the data to be available, and doing that, and building those partnerships sort of one organization at a time. We have gone live with that. So at the smartnorthflorida.com website for the initiative, the North Florida Data Exchange is there. It is not that robust at the moment. It is only transportation data that's in there, but you can see sort of the layout of the other areas of information that we'd like to start to.
And I know you're active now. You're out spreading the word. You mentioned you just spoke at an event yesterday with about 600 people at it. Obviously, you're speaking at the Tech Coast Conference, I think on the 21st?
Yeah, the 21st, we'll be speaking there. And for me, again, it's sort of engaging in a space that I haven't typically participated in. So the more we can can get in front of the tech community and really get them to understand too that this is an initiative that they can thrive in, hopefully, and partner with, is the goal.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we appreciate you being on the show. I'd encourage people to go out and check you out, listen to hear you speak, and find out a little more about this. It's definitely exciting and holds a ton of promise. So
Thanks for having me.
yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show, and thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for always joining us on Tech Talk, and we'll see you next episode.
Greetings and welcome back to the Jacksonville Buzz. Joining me today is our lovely Buzz contributor, Miss Angela Spears, and we have the Executive Director from the Newtown Success Zone, Mr. George Maxey. Welcome.
Thank you for
Good
being
morning.
here. Good morning.
Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Adrian.
Newtown Success Zone.
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
Well, Newtown Success Zone was first started in 2008, and it was started by Ms. Pam Paul and at that time Dr. Sheriff Glover. They went to Harlem Children's Zone with Mayor Payton and Linda Lanier, and they saw something that was great, and they wanted to bring it back to Jacksonville. The difference with Harlem and Newtown is Harlem had $70 million that they were working with, and Newtown Success Zone had zero. But Ms. Pam Paul and Dr. Glover had such an ingenious idea where they were saying, how can we bring nonprofit partners together in an area to work with children in regards to reaching their dreams and aspirations? So they focused on the area which is over in Kings Road, Myrtle and Beaver, up to College Gardens, which also encompasses Edward Waters College, which is the oldest historical black college in the state of Florida and one of the oldest private colleges in the state of Florida. So they came up with this ingenious ideas of bringing nonprofits together. They hired Dr. Pedro Corn as the first executive director and really created a level of change in helping with children.
So tell me exactly, what services do you provide for the children?
Well, the children work on services from aspects of how can we help them in regards to literacy, how can we help them in regards to health, how can we help them in regards to education and economics, financial literacy, those things that we look at in regards to things that children need to reach their dreams and aspirations and be prosperous in the community.
And you're also working not only with children, but the adults in the community as well, focusing on health, correct?
Yes, we do. And what we try to do more than anything else is we realized back in 2015 that we had to create a level of change. And the change was really looking at it from a two-generation model approach. You know, when we were in school, we learned about health. We learned about how to eat right, using a food pyramid, doing those different things from that perspective. But guess what? When we taught that to children, they didn't buy the groceries. It was the parents that bought the groceries. So what we saw was a disconnect between what the children were learning in school and what was actually happening in a household. Because children only spend 7 hours out of their day at school, but they spend 17 hours at home, and that doesn't even include the weekends. So what we focus mostly on is how can we really truly help parents really bridge that gap between school and home. So we just look at it from the perspective of we can work with parents more often in the households and helping them become better parents and align it to what they're doing in the schools, then we make a better child.
So what are some of the things you're actually doing to make that happen?
What we do is we partner with other nonprofit partners such as a Mayo Clinic and partner with the agencies like LISC or Family Foundations, and we focus on three main areas: health, education, economics. So in the areas of health, focusing on ways that we can work with individuals physically, their physical health, mental health, providing groceries to individuals because we're a food desert, but more importantly, giving them information in regards to how to help with their exercising, how to help with their diabetes, how to help with obesity, how to attack those different issues. Because if they're eating better, then they're also feeling better. Then we focus on areas of education. We have a program with the Jacksonville Public Library with GED and job training skills. And then we also focus on economics in regards to helping people start their own businesses.
Now you're a non-profit organization, so how do you get your funds? Do you have events, or is it all purely based on donations?
Well, what we focus on is we're actually a special program of Edward Waters College. We receive our money from the city. We're part of the grants department of City of Jacksonville. That's one of the beauties behind this program, because we're not necessarily a nonprofit, so we don't need to compete with the other nonprofits. So it becomes a way where we work together in regards to return on investment, where we provide residents to be part of their process while they provide the services. So it's really like a perfect storm in many ways.
And exactly where is the area? It's around, you keep saying Edward Waters College, so the area is around that area?
Yeah, around that area right there is the Kings Road area, right next to Grand Park. But the good thing about Newtown Success Zone, we're just not limited to the areas of that area. We focus on individuals all around Duval County. So the service that we provide is open to everybody, like our back to school event that we're having this coming Saturday.
So Newtown is just literally the original beginning.
Correct.
And now from then on, you spread out and you are covering a very wide area.
Yes.
How many people do you think that you're actually covering now
Well,
then?
last year alone, we touched over 4,000 individuals.
Wow.
Yes, in various programs, from our baby university to our GED classes, to our 24/7 dad classes, to our entrepreneurship classes, wellness RX classes, because we just try to make sure that we create an environment that individuals in the community like to have or want, but more importantly, we make it grassroots. So we meet with residents 2 times a month where they let us know what they would like to see, and then we find a nonprofit partner that does that deliverable.
And you mentioned a back to school event happening this weekend.
Yes, we're excited. This is our 11th annual back to school event. And what we do is, we give away free book bags, free physicals, sports physicals and regular physicals.
That's
we do
good.
immunizations, that we do the 7th grade shot and measles shots, and we also do free groceries for the first 300 families. But it's not about the book bag. It's not about the physicals. What's it about really is trying to make sure that our community is getting the things that they need. So we have over 70 vendors that will be at our back to school event.
What time and where?
It's going to be at Edward Waters College, Adam Jenkins Gym, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And what we're going to do is make sure we have employers that are going to be hiring. We have UPS coming, United States Postal Service coming, OPS that will also be there, and Florida Blue will also be in participation. And we have agencies like United Way and all those other agencies that are going to be there. City of Jacksonville is going to have a table there. So we're really excited with all these vendors, because what we try to do is make sure the vendors meet the needs of the parents. If we can fix households, then we can fix children.
Is there any volunteers that you need, or anybody?
Yes, we would love to take
Adrian, come on out.
Yes. We would love to take volunteers. We always love having volunteers. We let individuals know that if they just call us at 904-470-8899, they can come out and participate with us. Because what we look at is we've had 1,100 people come out to our back to school event last year. Our goal is to get to 1,500 people this year. And
people you're helping.
Yes, because the thing is, people realize that they're not just coming to get a free book bag. They're coming to receive services. And we realize that if we really want to change households, is those services that are provided within our community to help individuals create a level of change.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you for all you do. I mean, it's wonderful. It's nice to know more about it as well.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your information about the Newtown Success Zone.
Thank you.
Success Zone.
Yes.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after these messages. Good morning and welcome back to the Jacksonville Buzz. Now this morning I am joined by a lifestyle blogger, creative mind and local influencer, Catrice Shorter, and she's going to talk to us all about how she got involved in blogging. Welcome, Catrice.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And you're looking stunning, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
This looks lovely. So tell us, how did you get into blogging?
Okay, so I got into blogging in 2011. I'm a school teacher by day. A lot of people may or may not know that, but some of my coworkers were always complimenting me on my fashion for work. They were like, "You always dress so cute. School teachers don't ever look this cute." And one of my close friends at work said, "You should start a blog to give us some inspiration to show teachers how to dress cute for work. Like, we don't have to look frumpy all the time, you know." So I thought about it and I was like, a blog? I don't know. Me? Okay, let me look into it. And when I did my research, I thought, okay, there's a lot of fashion bloggers out there. How can I make my blog different? So I decided to do something else that I'm also very passionate about, which is food. So I combined two of my favorite things, fashion and food.
I mean, it's a great title, I have to say.
Yeah, everybody loves food and everybody loves to look good. So, you know, perfect match.
What made you change from just sort of blogging and what was it that you know, the defining moment when you thought, okay, this is getting bigger and bigger? Because you're not just a blogger, you are a very significant influencer.
That just kind of happened. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't. You know, they were just kind of pouring out. And
it just, I don't know. I kind of feel funny when people say you're an influencer, like you have this big influence. You know, I'm just doing something that I really am passionate about, something that I really enjoy. And I think people can see it and they feel the authenticity. And so they're interested in what I'm doing. So,
I mean, do you think about what your audience, or do you just say, I'm just doing what I want to do, and if they like it, they like it, and if they don't like it, yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's kind of both.
Okay.
I definitely think about the audience and what they like to see. If they're following me, then it's something that I enjoy as well. So I'm just giving them the real, like what I'm enjoying, whether it be food or an outfit or an event that's happening in town. I share it with them. They like it. They keep coming back. So, I just do what I love. And I think that when you do something that you're really passionate about and that you enjoy doing, people can really feel that and they enjoy watching it.
Have you actually had a moment on your blog when you've been sort of blown up and people have like, wow, this is fantastic? Can you pinpoint those moments?
Sometimes when I post an outfit that I put together and people are like, oh my God, this is so fabulous. And I'm like, oh my God, really? You like it? So
and it just goes crazy.
Yeah, it goes crazy. And it's like, sometimes it blows me away, some of the things that people really respond to in a way that I never thought they would. So that just really hypes me up a little bit.
Do you ask your audience questions? Do you want them to participate in your...
Yeah, definitely. Especially on my blog, if I'm talking about something, I'll usually end it with a question that's relative to what I was talking about in the blog post, just to get their feedback and see what they have to think about it.
And how do your students feel about this?
I don't typically tell my students that I'm a blogger, but sometimes they find out on their own.
I'm sure.
And they just really love it. And I just go with it.
Just go with the flow.
Go with it.
So, what is a day in the life of Catrice Shorter like?
Give me
a typical day.
A typical day. Like I said, I'm a school teacher, so we're on summer break right now. So do you want summer or do you want typical school day?
Let's take summer first.
Okay, summer. Okay. So I wake up, I would like to say that I sleep in during the summer, but that doesn't happen. I wake up as soon as I see daylight. And I get up, have me a little coffee, check some emails, go get something to eat, take a picture of it.
Of course.
Show everybody what I'm eating for the day. Try to get a blog post, written up, drafted up, maybe take some pictures, like of an outfit. I also have another job.
What?
Yeah. I work at a doctor's office 3 times a week. So if I'm not working, then I'm just enjoying the day with my friends or doing some blog stuff. Or just relaxing at home watching Netflix.
And then a day in the life of a teacher, Catrice.
Okay, a day in the life of a teacher. I get up extra early, like 5 o'clock in the morning, get ready. I always like to look nice for work. So it takes me about an hour to get ready. I gotta have coffee. So if I don't have any at home, I stop to get some breakfast maybe, get to school, have my first period class, second period, planning period, lunch, another class period, and then I go home.
And then you go home.
And then I spend some time blogging. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a full-time job pretty much.
It is. It's like another job.
Yes. So you've got blogging, teaching, and you work in the doctor's office.
People ask me all the time, how do you find time to do all these things? I don't know.
Give work to a busy person.
Yeah, I enjoy being busy.
I mean, it's fantastic having you here. Thank you so much for coming in.